The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, celebrating 10 years of being the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to discuss what not to buy when you go to your garden center this spring, as well as cool weather crops, what you can grow, and some tips on how to do such. And we'll answer your garden questions. The hour is full, so join us.
You are listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to another edition of the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy to have you along. Thank you for taking part of your day to join us. I'm your host, Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
This program is for you, about you, to help your garden grow better, to maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make your grass look greener, as well as preserving what you grow. Happy you're tuning in, whether you're doing such on one of the multiple AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2026 for season 10 of the program, podcast replay, in-studio video replay. However you're doing such, through our parent website under the season 10 tab, which is thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. However you're doing such, thank you very much. You want to be part of the program, you can certainly do such by giving us a call toll free at coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. Or you can send us an email, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Let us know where you're listening from. Before we get in the program, Holly, it's time for this week's joke of the week.
Okay, so what happened to the plant in math class?
Plant in math class. It didn't divide. Did it divide right?
No.
Oh.
That would be maybe a good joke, but it grew square roots.
Square math term. Yeah. All right.
This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pests such as wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com.
Well, as the warmness soon will develop our gardens, we're going to start thinking about going to the garden center, whether we're buying a lot of plants, whether we're buying all the vegetables and flowers and trees and shrubs that we need, or just sporadic intermittent items. There's some things at the garden center that you want to be aware of that you shouldn't purchase, but they have it there because people buy it, and we'll explain why.
Yeah, so the first one is something like root-bound plants, and you might think to yourself, how do I know? It's really not that hard to tell. You can often see it if you look at the plants and you take them. You don't want to necessarily take the whole thing out.
You can. Absolutely. Yeah, you can.
But also you can just tell sometimes by looking at the bottom part of whatever little seed container it's in, and you can see the roots just kind of like crammed, or
if they're sitting in a seed flat, it's just a mass of roots that have grown from little cell to cell.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, you want to look at that. You just want to make sure that you're not seeing anything where it's just a whole ball of roots to the point where it just seems like they would never, grow again, essentially, or take to soil.
Now, there's going to be some root boundness that's going to occur because these are plants that have been started weeks before. But again, if it's just a total conglomerate of roots, and there's nothing wrong with taking the geranium or the tomato plant or the eggplant or the whatever plant and tipping it out and looking at the roots. A good garden center is going to have zero issue with that because they have nothing to hide. And you can see if the roots are vibrant in color. Are they white? Or are they dingy? Are they spongy? Are they rotten looking? Because that's an issue in itself that you don't want to purchase. And if that's happening to one, you want to check other ones. And if you see a continuing pattern, this might not be the garden center for you because they're not maintaining the health and well-being of the plants that you're trying to buy and they want you to take home.
Right. And that's another thing to keep in mind is if there's just like, the plants all look sad and they're root bound and maybe there's not the best staffing or things just seem a little bit off, maybe don't buy from them.
If the plants have a stickiness to the leaves, if the leaves are yellowish or spottiness, or you see aphids under the leaves, look underneath the
Or
plant.
even like webbing.
Webbing, spider mites, or you pick a plant up and it's just a bunch of white little flies flying around. That's not good either. There are a certain amount of acceptable levels of these in a system, a greenhouse, a garden center that is practicing organic means. If it's not an infestation, you see one or two or something like that, that's normal. When you pick it up and you get hit in the face with white flies, that's not good either.
I'm starting to question. I bought some flowers for planting from a local garden center, but it was hard to tell because it was like I think it was right before Memorial Day weekend, it was right after Memorial Day weekend, which is a popular planting time for us, and it was pretty picked through. A lot of stuff really wasn't labeled that well, and there was a lot of white flies just in the general greenhouse area.
Okay.
And I don't know, I don't think stuff was taken care of the best. And I'm wondering if it was like one of these garden centers that, we kind of warn people about.
Yeah, you shouldn't have gone there.
Well, it's a really popular place.
Well, I understand that, but just because it's popular doesn't mean it's good.
I know. I'm just saying, and it could be just because it was after Memorial Day weekend.
The rush was over, and kind of the intensity or the perfectness had kind of fell off the edge.
Well, and a lot of these places will hire people seasonably until maybe beginning of June. They'll start like in March.
Your area may vary, but yes, in a certain 6-week window, really.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, maybe the staff had been dwindled off and they were just doing the best with what they had.
Now, certain garden centers, and you may know which one in your particular area that falls under this criteria, the same staff comes back year after year and you have a question, they know the answer, or they know somebody in that realm, that circle of staffing that knows the answer. They're master gardeners. They know what's going on. Hey, I don't have an answer, but Becky has had that problem. Let me go get Becky. She knows what's going on with that particular problem that you're facing.
Right. And I think it's good to talk about that too, not just like the plants necessarily, but also just
the experience, the environment.
Yeah. Who's, how people are working there. Are people helpful? Is stuff labeled with actual
prices? Are you happy to go? Do you look forward to going, or going, oh, I got to go to that garden center again? Then people are jerks.
Right. Or if you call ahead of time and you have a question and they act like you're inconveniencing them.
Well, I guess we're here to 4.
Right. And it's like, and then you have to ask like very specific questions. Otherwise they don't seem to think past, whatever. Yeah. So anyway, back to what to look for. So
tall, spindly plants.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Now, again, this is what you're referring to after that big rush. A lot of garden centers have overbought because they're anticipating that it's all going to sell. Example being tomatoes. The big rush is over. You've already planted your tomatoes. It's 2 or 3 weeks past when you normally would plant. You go to the garden center and they have 4 for $1 or 6 for $2, and they're twice as high, 3 times as high, spindly. They're starting to develop flowers on them, and they look like pretty rough.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Especially if they're spindly, they're a little bit too tall, or they have those flowers, and you might think, oh, that's a good sign. But it's not a good sign because it means that they went into survival mode and they put those flowers on as one last effort to give themselves a chance to reproduce. And now you take it home and you plant it, and it's going to be a womp womp situation.
Now, there are certain flowers in which you're going to buy at the garden center that are going to have flowers on them because they are designed to continue to put flowers on throughout the summer months. Tomatoes or something like that, that is not something in which is particularly in that category. Now, a lot of the flowers in which you're going to buy are pre-started, and they may start having some buds on them, or maybe in full, like a geranium.
Yeah, flowers. Yeah, like the little flowers. We're talking about like vegetable plants.
Yeah, eggplants, tomatoes, peppers, and things. Here's another root crops or viney crops are something you do not want to buy at the garden center. Avoid these. One being root crops, exclusion of onions and leeks, because those transplant very easily. I'm talking that you can go to your garden center and find radishes. You can find carrots. You can even find sweet corn, which that's a whole mess in itself.
Right.
Cucumbers, squash. These are things that if you take a cucumber from your garden center and you're able to get it home and plant it, and then you start a seed directly next to it, within 4 weeks, they're the same size. So just go ahead and direct sow these things and not go through the effort and carrots direct seed, radishes direct seed, those type of, root crops. They don't transplant. They don't transplant well. They'll fail. Then you figure that you've done something wrong. You go back and buy another set of them, and you've encouraged the garden center to continue to support that type of misinformation.
Right, and that's what you don't want to do. Is you don't want to keep buying something and making essentially the problem worse, and them thinking that this is what the people want, because it's not.
And some of these garden centers look towards, okay, we know this is not technically the correct thing, but we're going to buy this particular root crops, radishes, carrots, whatever, because people will buy them. Because we can make $5 off a container, and 22% of them will come back and buy another one later on because the first set will fail. That's not a good business plan when you set the customer up for failure.
No, it's not. And that's exactly it. Is you want to support a place that is going to, they're not just going to sell any old thing. You might as well just go to a big box store at that point.
Because they don't care as much as also, you want to not buy things like invasive species of plants, like English ivy, bamboo. We got a question about bamboo later on in the question and answer section. You want to know what you're getting yourself into, because an invasive species is something that will definitely get out of control. And in some instances, the harshest, strongest weed-killing chemicals doesn't do anything to subside it. It will continue to thrive even after that application.
Yeah, that's not good. And we don't want to give ourselves extra problems when we're trying to do
we got enough problems already.
When we're trying to do something for ourselves that's relaxing, like gardening.
And that's why we share this information, so you can take some of that. Did I mess that up? No, you didn't mess it up. You did what the garden center was showing you. Oh, the convenience of already planted, pre-planted pumpkins and squash and cucumbers and sweet corn and all this other stuff. Or those tomato plants that in our area, they're like $30 some odd, and they're already 3 foot tall in a cage in a pot, and already have tomatoes on them that's going to get ripe in like 2 weeks.
Right.
Yeah. Let's not play that game either.
No, there's a lot of bad decisions to be made at the garden center. Questionable decisions.
Costly.
Maybe even questionable decisions like where I'm going to put this plant, but I'm just going to get it anyway.
Well, that's the other thing. Yeah. Before we jump off of this, if you're going to go to the garden center, have a plan. Here, I know I need six tomato plants, 8 geraniums, 2 arborvitaes. Don't go and go, well, those are on sale. I'll just get 8 or 9 of them. I don't know where I'm going to put them, because you've just bought plants that you're going to try to plant. And some people do plant far too close. And then in the years to come, you have a very big problem as the plants get, they fight for competition. They don't look good. They can get diseases and spread even more rapidly than if they were spaced correctly. The whole deal. So it's always easier to go, okay, I know I need 4, 6, and 7. I'll take those home. And then 2 days later, hey, I planted those. I've got room for a couple more. I'll go back and get more that will fill the spaces that I need, and be a smart consumer in that realm. And you don't even have, we don't even go to the garden center. A lot of times we start almost 95 to 98% of the seeds that we grow vegetable-wise and flower-wise in our gardens ourselves. But again, nothing wrong with going to the garden center and purchasing everything, making one trip and going for that. So with that being said, hang out with us. When we return, we're going to talk about cool weather vegetables. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now, 1-800-927-SHOW.
Say goodbye to weeds. Easily remove them, roots and all, with the unique design of the Cobra-Head Hand Cultivator, recognized as the world's leading hand weeding tool. Simple design, lightweight, made from forged tempered steel for easy extraction of weeds, plant seeds, rows, and more. Visit CobraHead.com and use coupon code SOIL for 10% off your order at CobraHead.com. Coupon code valid 1 per customer.
Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com.
Get higher yields with durable green bed raised garden bed kits designed to be drainable, breathable, pest resistant, and long-lasting. DurableGreenBed.com. Abundance guaranteed. Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use coupon code 15TG26 to save 15% off your order at jungseed.com. That's JUNGSEED.com.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
Save your back. Easily and quickly remove trees and shrubs from your property with the Weed Wrench. Find it at weed-wrench.com. Made in the USA. Use coupon code JOEY to save $10 off your Weed Wrench at weed-wrench.com.
Wind River Chimes will always be the inspiring harmony. With a large selection and customization options, you will find the sound that soothes you. Visit windriverchimes.com to shop and find out more.
Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Thank you so much for being part of the program today, hanging out with us. As the warmness begins, we can get several crops in the garden. Some people think it's just, summer crops, and that's fine if that's the only thing that they want to grow. But you can get your cool weather crops in early and late in the year. We're going to talk about some of the cool weather crop options and some of the things you need to be aware of before just throwing some seeds in the ground.
Yeah, you can really extend the seasons on both sides, but definitely in the spring because you have some options for the cool weather crops.
Now, whether you're in the northern portions of the United States, you're in Georgia, you're in California, wherever it is, your mileage may vary slightly, but one of the beginning things is if you want even more time to grow these crops in cooler conditions, you want season extenders like low tunnels, or you can even build a high tunnel, frost cloths, floating cloths, something to protect those plants from the harder, harsher freezes. These cool weather plants can handle light frost situations, and you can do this from seed, or you can direct sow them from seed, or you can buy them at the garden center, or you can start them indoors. Whichever way is all acceptable, but your timing is important based on how many weeks before your last average frost date does it recommend putting this particular item in the ground.
Right, and the good thing about this also is that if you forget or maybe you're not ready to do this spring, you can also do this in the fall, but you are backing off, like you're kind of thinking the opposite way. So you want to make sure that you know that when something's going to come to maturity and start planning ahead. So it might seem weird to be planting cool weather crops like in August, but that might be necessary.
And there's risk on both ends. In the spring, you try to get them in the ground at the appropriate time, and then at some point, the temperature and the daylight and goes full board, and the plants get leggy, and they put seed pods on, and that's what they do. And
there's something.
And the same thing in the winter. You try to back it off, but then occasionally you get that anomaly where typically we have 4 more weeks of mild temperature. Now we're at 18 degrees tomorrow night, and everything's shot. So it's a risk either way. But again, this is your hobby. This is something you do for fun. For many people, this is not a financially detrimental. If this happens, we've lost our business and we have to go do a different occupation.
Right. But even if you are doing it
it's disappointing
for fun. Yeah, it is disappointing. So, there's a number of things that you can grow that's a little bit more hardy. They mature in about 30 to 50 days, sometimes less. And I think one to mention here for sure is radishes. Those typically take only about 30 days. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to plant them too soon, but you also don't want to plant them too late.
The bonus with radishes, if you plant them incorrectly and they go to seed or bolt, they will start to develop a seed pod on that radish, and it looks like a little tiny pea pod. You can go ahead and consume that, and it has the same flavor as the bulb if you had planted it at the correct time and harvest it for the actual red or purple or Easter egg color bulb on it. The pod will consume, and you can use that in stir fries. You can just eat it as a snack. Doesn't matter. Cool weather crops are typically thrive in temperatures. This is a hit and miss, about 50 to 75 degrees, give or take. And if you're in that particular area where it does have that risk of going from normal, average to anomaly of very warm, you can pre-plant these in partial shade areas, or what would be to develop as partial shade if you've got a tree nearby that's going to develop leaves. So you can do that. Also, you can also cool the soil with mulch. It can have a tremendous effect on the benefit of the plant roots by just using chemical-free, seed-free grass clippings, leaves, straw, pine needles to cool that soil, to keep that heat off. It's amazing if you just do a comparison and you have some mulch on one versus no mulch. If we take it to the middle of July, it is multiple degrees difference in the coolness of the soil versus bare soil.
Right, and that is definitely something to keep in mind. Like Joe had mentioned, the coolness versus, depending on the time of year, etc.
So what are some of these good plants, good cool weather crops that one could either purchase or start from seed at the appropriate time and plant outside?
So we talked about radishes, the leafy greens, so like arugula, kale, lettuces, mustard, spinach,
your brassicas,
brassicas, bok choy, all of those.
Mm-hmm. Cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli's in it, and along with peas and onions, certain herbs like parsley and cilantro enjoy that coolness. And that cilantro is just, if you talk to anybody that likes cilantro and tries to grow cilantro, it is a pain because you get it in the ground and like 3 days later it gets hot and it bolts and it's it.
Yeah.
We have a video. If you go to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and type in the search bar, growing cilantro, we have a video how you can grow it indoors year round without any issue whatsoever. So that's something, if you're very in tune to that particular herb, that will be a good way to
and
maximize
another thing would be like chives, scallions, bunching onions. Those all work as well too because they don't need the long time or the heat.
Right. Spinach is another one. So, you can do a lot with very little. Some of the quick growing crops here take 30 to 50 days. You talked about some of them. Spinach is another one. Kale is one that is what they used to call that like a superfood. And now it's just, whatever. Years ago, this was early 90s, you would go to like a steak restaurant and they would have kale as a garnish.
Right.
And people would throw it away because that was like, oh, we don't eat that, just a garnish. I'd always eat it.
I know. I remember. Yeah.
Lettuces. Let's talk about lettuces because there's nothing better if you've never had
Were
a
you
salad.
going through a lot of steak houses in the 90s?
No, just like 2 or 3 times a year at most.
Okay.
Lettuces, if you've never had a salad with homegrown or farmer market bought lettuce, Bibb lettuce, romaine lettuce, leaf lettuce. Yeah, you have no clue what you are missing. It is very easy to grow these, if you're growing like romaine or Bibb lettuce, it's good to start it from seed, one per,
So what is, for people who don't know, what is Bibb lettuce? It's like a head lettuce.
It's a tiny little head lettuce, yeah.
But it's like not iceberg. It has, it kind of has like a sweeter flavor, doesn't it?
It's a tender, more milder, sweet butterhead lettuce in that variety realm, known for the soft buttery leaf notes of that. So,
and it's something you definitely can't just like find randomly
at your supermarket.
Yeah, in the store, which is what makes it good, because you're not.
It's got a slight crunch to it.
Because it's not something that you can just go and pick up anytime at your supermarket.
Yeah, you can get that iceberg lettuce, and we know that has zero to almost no, that has like no flavor whatsoever. It's just got a crunch and it's wet.
Right. But some people like that crunch.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So with the romaine lettuce, if you're going to grow romaine lettuce, there's two varieties. There's the green variety and the burgundy variety. What we have found over years of growing this is that they have a slightly different taste in the two. And when it gets warm and those days get long and the temperature gets warm, they will go to seed or go to bolt. The burgundy has been found in our experience to go to seed or bolt or get bitter about 3 weeks later on in the season than the green. Now, one thing you can utilize is you can eat this lettuce throughout the summer, even if it is bolting and being bitter. The reason why is the bitterness is contained in the central vein of that lettuce leaf. So it's a little more work. But if you're noticing you're getting that bitterness notes, you can take and harvest the lettuce, cut that central vein out, so you have two basically half leaves in each one leaf, and you can eat lettuce, and there's no bitterness notes in the leaf itself. It's in that central vein. So you can keep that in mind as well. Also, if you let it go to seed, you'll have little romaine lettuces everywhere next year.
Yeah, you'll have probably more lettuce than you need, and
which not necessarily a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing at all, and especially the dark stuff makes a nice accent. Yeah, makes a nice accent for many gardens. So.
And there's different colors of leaf lettuces. There's dozens of different varieties of leaf lettuce, so one may be of interest to you. But the cool weather crops is real. And here's the other thing that we have gotten the question on. Well, I planted my Brussels sprouts early in spring, but they're not ready yet. Brussels sprouts, though they are considered a cool weather crop, they will take up to 120 days to reach maturity. That's another thing that a lot of people like. I don't like Brussels sprouts. Well, you've never had homegrown Brussels sprouts. You've had the terrible ones you've got at the store.
Or whoever made them for you probably
had no clue how to
probably boiled them to
muck.
To muck, basically. Yeah. Some other things that you can grow in 50 to 75 days.
Yes.
Include beets, cauliflower, collard greens, cabbage. So this is more of your cruciferous vegetables, carrots, dill, escarole, which is another leafy green, kohlrabi. That's a popular one.
If you don't know what kohlrabi looks like, look it up. It's very unique. It's green and burgundy as well, but it looks like a Martian plant.
And then leeks, perennial herbs, so mint, thyme, oregano, sage, Swiss chard. I was actually going to talk about Swiss chard anyway. And then turnips. So the Swiss chard is like an underutilized green. And if you are somebody who likes, like spinach, but maybe spinach is a little bit hard on your digestive system, Swiss chard seems to be, or even kale. Kale can be hard on the digestive system too. Swiss chard seems to be a little bit more gentle, so that's a good option for you. And then turnips are mentioned here as well. And I would say, did I say rutabaga? I would say
no. You have not said rutabaga.
Okay, so that's another one that you could grow as well. And these are 50 to 75 days, so you might have to plant them a little bit later, but they don't take super long to grow.
Right. Leeks are one of the odysseys there. They can take up to 130 days. So if you want baby leeks or young leeks, you can go about that way. Well, it's, you hate having dirt in the house. You hate having it in the garage or at the cabin, but there's a way in order to fix that problem, to keeping the dirt outside rather than bringing it inside.
Yeah, so Scrusher Scrusher boot and shoe cleaner. So it's basically what it is it's a boot and shoe cleaner you keep outside of your house. You might have seen this outside of people's homes where you go ahead, rub your shoe, boot, whatever against it, and then it takes off all of that dirt, grime, etc. for you. These are made out of weather-resistant steel frame and black UV powdered finish for year-round outdoor use. They also have the big boot scrusher. So this one is wider. It's made for the biggest boots out there. It's designed to take on those big boots, and it is portable just like all of them, where you can kind of move it around.
Or you can mount it. Mount it to a step or a deck or a porch.
Yeah, you can mount it too. And the best thing about these is they come with a 5-year frame warranty, so they're made for year-round use.
Oh, there's another good thing about them. They're made in the USA.
Oh yeah, they're made in the USA as well. So the big boot scrusher is the heavy-duty one. Otherwise, there is just the regular one as well. And you can find out more by going to scrusher.com, and yeah, you can use code no more dirt 5 to save 5% off and free shipping at checkout. Scrusher.com.
How do you spell that?
SCRUSHER.com.
Hey, when we return, hang out with us. It's time for your garden questions and our garden answers. You're tuned in to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Hello, gardeners! It's Ann from Neptune's Harvest Organic Fertilizers in Gloucester, Mass. If you're planting flowers, vegetables, shrubs, or just trying to keep your lawn healthy and green, then you should know about Neptune's Harvest. Neptune's Harvest fertilizers come from the mineral-rich North Atlantic Ocean, which contains all the nutrients plants and soil need. Flower growers, get your sunglasses out. You'll want to use them when you're looking at how bright those colors are. Vegetable growers, with Neptune's Harvest, you can achieve the amazing results you deserve for all your efforts. You'll have the most abundant, sweet-tasting supply of organically grown produce, and there's nothing like the taste of a fresh garden tomato you grew yourself. Neptune's Harvest works so great, whether you know what you're doing or not, you'll look good, and you'll feel good, because you're doing the right thing for the environment and your health. Try Neptune's Harvest products from the ocean to set your plants in motion. Available at your local garden center, and to learn more, go to neptunesharvest.com.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA Bio-Preferred certified? You bet. Say goodbye to Roundup and hello to No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. No More Weeds kills weeds with no harsh chemicals and no glyphosate. Safe around pets, No More Weeds has a proprietary sticking agent to use around gardens, pools, decks, patios, anywhere there are weeds. Available online at natgreenproducts.com, Amazon, and Walmart.com. Order yours today. The same great company that brings you No More Bugs.
We are in the dead of winter, but it's not too early to read up on the best products to control beetles and grubs in your yard and garden.
You're right, Joey. Before we know it, the temperature will rise to 55 Fahrenheit plus, and those grubs will become active again in your lawns and gardens. Make sure you use safe, high-performing products like Grub Gone and Beetle Gone so you, your kids, and pets can safely enjoy your yard without sharing it with beetles and grubs.
Grub Gone can be applied to the turf to control grubs, reducing turf damage and lessens the impact that beetles have on your yard in the summer. Easy to use. Apply with any commercial spreader and irrigate into the soil. Biological that specifically targets grubs without harming soil beneficials like earthworms.
And use Beetle Gone in your garden soil to control grubs, or later in the summer to control beetle invaders without harming bees, ladybugs, insects, butterflies, etc. These are the only non-chemical products that work. Find out more at beetlegone.com.
MyRootmaker.com has the tools to start your plants off right and keep them growing through harvest. From their seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots to their large variety of grow bags, 1 to 60 gallons. Get the harvest you've never seen before. Visit myrootmaker.com and use coupon code RADIO26 to save 10% off your order at myrootmaker.com. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy you're with us today. You want to find out more information about all those companies you've heard throughout the program? You can go to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page for the coupon codes and the Season 10 tab for all the companies and past shows if you've missed them in podcast form. Before we get into your questions and answers, we got to talk about our good friends, ScrubbySoap.com.
Okay, yep. Scrubby is really neat. It's a natural soap with a scrubber inside that fills the entire size of the bar. So you don't have to, make sure you always have your soap and your scrubbing tool, especially if you're like me and you're trying to do a quick cleanup and you just got done painting or doing some sort of art or craft project or who knows what.
All in one.
All in one. And they have this nice citrusy scent to them, which I like because I am pretty sensitive to a lot of scents and things like that. But for some reason, which I'm glad, the citrus scents don't bother me.
Well, it's all natural.
Right, it's all natural. And it's good for anything from artists and painters, gardeners, mechanics. It easily removes grease, grime, oil, all of these things. It can help because it has the natural citrus oil and that scrubber built in. It helps to fight those tough residues. You can use them, if you need to on your brushes, your hands, whatever. I used it a little bit when I was working with some markers, got the stuff right off. So it's definitely very helpful to remove all of that grease, oil, grime, etc., paint. And you can get 10% off your order by using the code SOAP, SOAP at scrubby.com or scrubbysoap.com. That's SCRUBBY soap.com.
It's time for your garden questions, our garden answers. You got a question, send it on over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, gardentalkradio@gmail.com, or you can give us a call anytime, toll free, coast to coast at 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-7469. I have a lot of pine needles and pine cones in my yard that I did not clean up before the winter. What options do I have for using them in the garden, or is it just best to pile them in the corner and wait several years for them to break down?
Well, you can use them in the garden. It's not going to hurt them. You can use them as mulch. Maybe not the pine cones. That could be some pokey mulch, but the pine needles you can use mulch.
Yes, the pine needles, yes, they are acidic when they're on the tree. They're like a 3.5 on the scale. But after they fall off the tree, and by the time they would neutralize or break down, they have come to a 7 on a pH scale. The pine cones you could also use if you've got containers where you have squirrels or cats that like to visit for relieving issues. You can put that in the top of the container, and that prickly will kind of keep them. Most of them are not going to fight it, and they'll go elsewhere. If you're going to incorporate your pine needles into your compost pile, you don't want to exceed any more than about 10% of overall volume because it will take a tremendous amount of time. It takes several years for these to break down. That's why it's such a beneficial tool to use for mulch around your tomatoes, your peppers, your eggplants, whatever you got. Pine is also known as pine straw in some regions, and there are companies that you can buy pine straw and they will ship it to you, to your residence in a big giant box. So you've probably got somewhere a park or somewhere that is legal for you to go pick up if you don't have any on your property. But that's some things you can do with your pine straw or pine needles. Can I plant store-bought potatoes that have sprouted inside, or is this not advisable?
You can do that. It's no problem. Especially if they sprouted, that means that they are able to grow another potato plant. So you can go ahead and plant those. You just want to make sure you plant them sprout up. If they're super big, you can cut them to a smaller size, no smaller than like a chicken egg.
Additionally, one thing you may want, if you want to try to figure out kind of what variety you're dealing with, because some potatoes take 70 to 80 days, 90 to 100 days, 130 days. Those are typically your fingerling potatoes, but kind of give some generalization. Look at the package, kind of do a online search, an image search, because there are issues with potatoes that will cause them to die off sooner than what they would normally do in order to be ready. So if you planted it and it sprouted and it looks good and it's only like 6 inches tall and it dies off, obviously it didn't do anything. Potatoes need about 10 weeks after sprouting in order to develop the tubers. And as the potato dies off, that is an indication that it is ready to be harvested. And by waiting any longer, you're just taking the risk that something is going to get to the tubers. Now, a lot of factors tie into this. And we'll talk more about this in an upcoming episode of how to grow it. But you want good nutrients, good moisture, some type of fertilizer. So keep that in mind when it comes to growing potatoes. And yes, you can get them, and the larger, better. But yeah, throw them in the ground. I don't want to have leggy seedlings again this year like I have in past years. How can I prevent my seedlings from becoming leggy inside?
Well, you have to. The reason why plants become leggy is because they are reaching for the light. They want to get to the light source, whatever that may be, because they think that helps internally. They think that helps them grow, which it does, but it doesn't help you. So you can, if you have a grow light, you would want to lower it down closer to the plants. Another thing you can do is if you're just relying on the sun, you want to move it closer to the window perhaps, and then you also want to rotate them.
And there are some plants, let's say brassicas, example, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, that have that tendency to want to be leggy naturally. So if you don't have plenty of light, you're going to get that. The only plant that has any beneficial factors to becoming leggy accidentally is tomatoes, because you can plant it deeper. All the hairs on the stem of the tomato planted deep has the potential of developing roots, and the more roots, the more nutrients, the happier, healthier, better plant you're going to get. But don't intentionally make your plants leggy in the tomato genre just so you can have them plant them deep. You don't need to do that. So a couple of things is put that light as close as possible and be aware of how the conditions are being done in your grow room. If you're in a greenhouse, you probably don't have to worry about this. You do need a heat source because in some areas it's quite cold when you're starting them inside. Hang out with us. We've got more of your questions and answers when we return. You're tuned into the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Azure Standard is America's premier family-owned online store for organic foods and healthy products for your home and garden. They deliver directly to families and businesses through more than 3,500 drop points across all 50 states, making it easy to get everything you need in one simple pickup. As a natural health food distributor, Azure brings bulk and specialty items to communities nationwide. They offer more than 12,000 products that meet their clean ingredient standards, high quality, non-GMO, organic, and naturally sourced. You'll find everything from groceries, health and beauty items, and household essentials to nutritional supplements, animal care, hobby supplies, and even gardening products. Simply put, Azure Standard has something for just about every part of daily living. Visit azurestandard.com and use promo code JoeyandHolly15 at checkout to get 15% off your first order of $100 or more when you open a new account and ship to the drop location of your choice. Visit azurestandard.com. That's AZURE standard.com. Get in your garden with Diggs. From gardening gloves to accessories, storage, organization, and more, Diggs products combines form and function with a splash of fashion and are ideal for women who possess a passion for plants and enjoy harnessing the beauty of nature. Steeped in color and pattern, Diggs gloves are inspired by nature and are designed to protect your most valuable assets, your hands. Get your Diggs on at diggsgardening.com, the Home Depot, Amazon, and search for it by name, DIGZ, diggsgardening.com.
Check out ivorganics.com. It's America's leading garden product YouTube channel. IV Organic products are innovative, organic, effective, and proudly USA made to help you achieve your best growing season. Use coupon code RADIO10 at checkout and save 10% on your entire order at ivorganics.com. That coupon code again is RADIO10 to save 10% on your order at ivorganics.com.
Transform your exterior wood surfaces with Rubio Monocoat's new DuraGrit. DuraGrit delivers rugged protection and rich color for decks, siding, pergolas, planter boxes, and all outside wood surfaces. Say goodbye to multiple coats thanks to DuraGrit's incredible patented one-layer technology. Enjoy a vibrant, durable color that won't peel or flake even in the harshest conditions. Rubio Monocoat DuraGrit is tomorrow's UV protection for exterior wood. For every order, Rubio Monocoat USA will plant a tree at a U.S. planting site. Get 10% off DuraGrit when using code JOEY at checkout. Learn more at RubioMonocoatUSA.com.
Soil Diva Liquid Microbe Stimulant Spray improves the health of your plants you work hard to grow, stimulates the natural enzymes, and increases beneficial soil bacteria. Go to soildiva.net. Soildiva.net. Welcome back to the Garden with Joy and Holly radio show. Thank you for being with us today, taking time out of your day to join us. Again, want more information about those coupon codes and the companies that are part of the program? Our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, underneath the Season 10 tab for all the sponsors, as well as past shows in podcast form, and the Money tab for your discount codes. All right. More to your garden questions and garden answers. Toll free 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-7469, or send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
All right, so next question here is any advice on how to get rid of bamboo? This could be a real problem.
Bamboo can be an aggressive plant if you have uneducatedly planted it in the ground in certain areas. It has an aggressive root system. The story that I have for you in regards to bamboo is I have a friend that his dad decided to plant bamboo in the yard in zone 6, and it took off, and he wanted to get rid of it. So he would mow it down. Didn't do anything. He would dig it up. Kept coming back. He called the biggest chemical company in the country. You all probably know which one that is. And they said, well, we really don't have anything, because he was applying it and it wasn't doing it. And he said, you got anything that will get rid of bamboo? And they said, we really don't. They said the best thing you can do is continue to dig it up. Well, after multiple years of aggressively digging this up, it finally stopped growing. So if you're going to grow bamboo, which is a very beautiful plant and is designed to be grown in nature in certain areas, grow it in a large container or in some means or method in which it can be controlled and not just naturally spread as kind of like an invasive species across the yard. Again, if you're going to grow it in a container, I've seen people grow bamboo in a 60-gallon terracotta pot. And it has busted the terracotta pot and tried to root into the concrete that the terracotta pot was setting on. So again, be cautious of what you are trying and how you're trying to grow it. Just don't set that pot over in the yard, because it's going to grow through the pot and into the ground, and it's going to be a whole big mess.
Right. Just be smart about some of these invasive plants, or most of these invasive plants. There are certain places in the country, in the world, where they grow and they're supposed to grow, and there are certain places where it's probably not wise to grow them. Okay. All right. So I have some barrels that were full of windshield washer fluid. Will that be harmful? Will there be harmful chemicals in these containers that would prevent me from using them for garden containers?
Yes. Windshield washer fluid, barrels that house windshield washer fluid, the World Wildlife Foundation would deem that chemical harmful and toxic. And no matter what you're going to do in that, it's not safe. It's not safe to store drinking water or try to grow edible plants in it. You want food grade material or food grade barrels, some kind of, vegetable oil or pickles or whatever is made, it's been transported in that barrel, or 5-gallon bucket for that matter. You can go to sub shops and you can get buckets. Some places will give them for free. Other places they'll charge you a very small fee in order to let them leave the door.
You could grow flowers.
Yeah, 55-gallon. It appears that it's a 55-gallon drum. I don't know specifically. It's a barrel. When I hear a barrel, I hear 55 in my mind. 55 gallons.
Right. So you could grow some flowers. They're usually those barrels are obviously usually plastic.
You can cut them in half.
So you can cut them in half. You could even just decorate them, paint them, and then grow some flowers in them. You might want to put something in the bottom so that you're not filling the whole thing up with soil, but you don't want to plant anything that you're going to eat in there.
And some people, and we agree with that statement with you just said there, also with tires. Some people will grow edibles in tires, but there's a whole...
Yeah, it just seems kind of risky.
A whole different thing there.
Right.
Okay, I just got a soil block maker for Christmas and was planning on using it only for onions since I pretty much have reusable nursery pots and have great success with it. The onions were a decent size last year, but I think they could be a bit bigger. I feel like the soil block maker would help not to disturb the roots. I could be wrong though. Any tips, tricks, or advice on soil block making for planting in?
I mean, I don't think there's any problem using onions to grow in the soil block. I think that would be perfectly fine.
The soil block, there's multiple different sizes from very, very tiny to like 4x4 blocks. A soil block, if you're not familiar, it is a metal apparatus in which has cavities that you fill with moist potting soil or compost, and then you plunge it out into individual blocks with divots in the top in order to plant your seed, and then you dribble soil on top of it. And people will start these in a 10 by 20 flat. The advantage to it is you don't have to worry about like nursery pots or trays. The disadvantage is there is a certain amount of shelf life that is available to it because the plants air prune the roots. Once they hit the air, they'll vibrant off and make more roots. So it's not necessarily a disadvantage. You want to keep it moist. The water will capillate up into the soil block. You can start all kinds of different things. So the disadvantage really wasn't a disadvantage. You can plant anything in a soil block. If you have the correct soil density and nutrients in that soil, you can do that. So I don't see that the onions would be bad. That would be a good thing. Leeks would be another good thing. I don't see there's any really... The only things I would still advise against would be root crops, carrots or radishes, like we talked about in the first segment. Even though it is going to take that soil block and move it into the garden and not disturb the roots, there's certain things that is just better in the overall realm of growing to direct sow in the ground without having any additional agitation to the roots.
Right, and that's... Yeah, I mean, I don't see any, like I said, I don't see any issue with growing onions in there, but just growing onions and anything typically isn't a problem. A lot of times if you want bigger onions, you want to plant them in looser soil and make sure that soil is being watered, has plenty proper moisture, and then also is nutrient dense.
And have plenty, nutrients in the whole deal. So, that would be the way to go. Again, if you look up soil block or soil block making, it's quite a fascinating type of seed starting procedure. So,
all right. So,
with that being said, we're out of time.
Oh, I guess we are.
We are out of time, and we thank you for yours. Missed any portion of the program or would like to revisit, you can certainly do such by going to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and clicking on the Season 10 tab at the top of the page. All shows are listed there in chronological order, as well as all past 9 seasons. If you're new to us and new to our program, you can certainly catch up and find segments and everything possible. Thousands of segments there. Tune in the program next week where we will be discussing growing tips for the beginner gardener. There's a lot of coverage that we need to go. We want to help you out so you don't make the mistakes that we've made so your success in the garden can be better. As well as the in-depth growing potatoes. We talked a little bit about it there in the question and answers, but we're going to go in-depth and talk all about how you can grow successful potatoes. As well as we will answer more of your garden questions, so send them over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com or give us a call toll free, coast to coast, 1-800-927-SHOW. So until next week for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.